Didn't see you guys there. It's just dreaming.
This is going to be the last video in this series, How to Shape a Surfboard. Part 7, concave and fine sanding. If you guys remember last video, we did the rails first. Now we're going to be doing the concave. Twinsers do well with a very specific type of concave. There needs to be a flat area where the fins go. This most likely will not apply to you unless you're doing a Bonzer setup or a Twinser setup. So in the past, I made this template and I'm gonna use it to mark the area where there's going to be no concave on my surfboard. And I'm also gonna use this to measure where I want this thingy to go. I know my front fins go 16 and a quarter. So I'm gonna make that mark, draw out my template, and then add some tape to my board before I start planing. I'm gonna make a very gentle pencil mark because we're not gonna be doing too much sanding or shaping from this point on. If you do a very deep pencil mark, you're not gonna be able to scrub it out all the way. So if you guys are anything like I was growing up, poor, you probably didn't have this tape. This stuff's kind of expensive and it's not everywhere. This stuff is always laying around in some part of your house. I'm gonna show you how to use thick tape, which is not ideal for doing this, but there is a little trick that'll make it work just right. So with this thicker tape, what you're gonna wanna do is really take your time, and you're gonna wanna bend the tape and press down and almost fold it over. Lay the tape with the angle of wherever you're going first and then bend it around. So my angle starts like this, and I'm gonna take it and pull it with my finger there and then stick along the area that I want it. You don't wanna pull too hard or you'll just loosen the tape from the rest of the board. It's always good to take a razor blade and just gently press down on the area that you taped, and it'll keep the tape from pulling up. Or you can also use a razor blade to cut it to make it bend a little bit easier, but it's not always necessary. Now that I've marked the areas that I don't want to cut, I'm gonna take my planer and start putting in the concave through the center of the board. Pretty soon, I'm gonna show you guys also how to laminate and glass surfboards, but this is the current state of my glassing area.
Why are there two engines?
That one, the head cracked on it. That one's gonna end up going into my race car, which you guys will see in the future. Now that I've put in the concave with the planer, I'm going to use my level to check the whole entire board, and I'm gonna use also a sanding block to put in the rest of the concave. I have my super old level here and my 80 grit sanding block.
What's going on? Do you speak English?
As you can see on my sanding block, I've put marks on equal sides so I can line these up with the stringers and have reference points to where the concave or convex is in the board. After checking, I'm just going to very lightly touch up my concave to make sure it's all symmetrical, starting at the front, the entry of the concave, back to the back. I've gotten my concave mostly symmetrical from this point up, so now I'm switching to a 220 pad and I'm going to smooth everything out the rest of the way and do the finishing little touches for the center part of my concave. With the rocker cleaned up, I'm going to start doing the double concave in the very tail of the board. To do this, I'm going to take a sanding block and my shear form and just gently carve it out, checking often to make sure that it's not too deep, that it's not getting lumpy, that it's not getting weird. I'm just going to keep my tools right here that I'm going to need. Be gentle with them. And I'm going to be using this a bunch because there's going to be a very small area where the concave is going to be going, and it's going to be a little bit deeper than up front. We don't want to make it too deep on one side and end up chasing our tail for the next hour and a half. We're going to keep on track of it, and we're going to pay close attention while doing this. I'm starting with my shear form right along my tape line, and I'm going to start digging out that nice and slowly. So I'm only going halfway here so that I don't end up making it just too close to the stringer. I'm trying to basically hollow out this part right along this edge. My goal here is to make this edge, or not really edge, but this area close to where the fins are going to be, further down than the stringer. I've gotten the last bit of concave touched up in the tail. Now I'm just going to take my little block plane here and do a couple passes with it along the stringer. Then I'm going to start to finish it off. It all together using this 220 pad. Now that my concave is completely finished up, I'm going to move on to fine sanding. I'm going to start by just taking off my tape, just like that.
Look at those concaves lines.
I turned off one of my lights so that you guys can see the concave, which is pretty cool. I'm going to start with my 320 block. It's a very soft block. And I'm just going to nose the tail, walk it across the board, and smooth out my little channels because they don't need to be very pronounced. Now I'm taking just a sponge that I got in Japan and 600 grit screen, and I'm going to basically do the same thing and just run it nose to tail across the board. So now I'm using a heat gun, and you gotta be careful if you're gonna decide to use this to get your scratches out, because it will melt the foam. But if you use it just right, almost like you're painting the foam with the heat, you'll see it gently take out the scratches and it'll rise up, then you can sand them out. But again, be very careful because you will just totally melt your surfboard, so don't do that. Finally, I'm taking my 400 grit block, which is again just on a sponge, and you always want to blow your board off to make sure that you don't have any glue balls from the stringer or pieces of anything. You don't want anything on the foam, because as you drag your sandpaper along it, it'll cause it to scratch. Now that all the concave is smoothed out, the bottom is good, you'd basically repeat that step on the other side. I'm not going to show you because it's the exact same thing. And now I'm just going to double check my edge is in a good spot, and we'll be finished. Again, I'm not going to show you guys fine sanding the deck, but I will show you how to touch up your stringer points at the nose and tail like this. So you're going to want to take maybe a 220 block, maybe less, maybe 320, maybe 180. I don't know what type of stringer you have. But you're basically going to take it and very carefully come down here so you're eye level with this stringer, eyeball level. And then you can just gently touch it up like this. Remember, it does not need to be very sharp. Having it sharp is not going to make you go faster. Now we're moving on to the tail. I'm going to take my shear form and start. Then I'm moving on to my 80 grit. So one trick and tip, if you can't get your stringer done right and you keep scratching the crap out of the sides, tape. Pull some tape off, come up here, just lay it along the outside of your stringer, just like that. Tuck it away. Do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna take our tape bra and bring it alongside the stringer. And now we have a beautiful surface to sand on. Well, here it is. It's all done. I did not fine sand the deck, so let me know if you want to murder me for not showing you how to do that. Next part of the series is not going to be this series. The next part of this series is going to be glassing. How to glass a surfboard. I am not that great at glassing, so I will probably have to bring in some reinforcements to help me in there so I don't look like a total Barney like you guys. Let me know what you guys thought of the series. Let me know what you guys are gonna wanna see next, because I'm gonna be shaping more stuff. Maybe one day I'll get a board order. That would be cool. And then pretty soon I'm gonna be building a race car with you guys, because I have a 10-year goal to become a race car driver. If you didn't know, I like cars. Be sure to check out all the other videos on the channel. Talk to y'all later.
I think they want to see a longboard series.
Okay, we'll start longboarding stuff if that's what you guys want. So, I don't know, just tell me, leave some comments, and if you guys ever get out of your mom's basement, you could wear some of the merch that's getting dropped.
We just gotta figure out how to add it to the videos. But
yeah, it's kind of confusing to get a website hooked up to YouTube, and so we're working on it. It'll get there. Well, maybe you guys will see me at Pipeline on this thing, maybe not. We'll see. Hopefully we're gonna be moving into a different trailer, and if we are, we might be able to go to Hawaii for like a month or something. So we'll keep y'all posted.